Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into something a little different, a little darker perhaps. We've gathered a collection of true stories, actual accounts from people whose honeymoons, those absolute dream trips, took a sudden turn into nightmare territory. And these aren't just spooky tales we made up. These are real experiences people shared, romantic getaways that became these desperate situations, struggles just to stay safe.
It's such a stark contrast, isn't it? The whole idea of a honeymoon is this perfect idyllic bubble. You're supposed to let your guard down, just be happy, be together.
Yeah, totally relaxed.
Exactly. And that's why when something terrifying happens, something dangerous, it feels even more jarring. It hits that vulnerability, that feeling of being exposed when you least expect it, when you feel the safest.
That's a really good point. Our first story, it really highlights that. It takes place in Maui, Hawaii. I mean, you hear Maui, you think paradise. Right?
Absolutely. The quintessential dream destination.
So this newlywed couple, they arrive, check into their hotel right on the beach. Everything is set for that perfect Hawaiian honeymoon experience. First few days, exactly what you'd picture. Torch shows, luau's, hitting different restaurants, maybe a few too many celebratory drinks. The vibe.
Sounds like pure bliss. They're in that controlled resort setting. Relaxing, romantic. That's the dream they're sold and the dream they're living. It sets their baseline for feeling safe.
Definitely. But on day 4, they decided, okay, let's add a bit of adventure. Let's go exploring. They wanted to hike one of Maui's famous jungle trails. It was actually like a bucket list thing for their trip. They picked the PPY Trail. It's known for this amazing long path cutting through a super dense bamboo forest, leading to these hidden waterfalls, little ponds. Locals recommended it, other tourists too. Seemed like a great idea.
And right there, that's the shift, isn't it? It's subtle, but they're moving from the predictable resort bubble into the wild, into nature. It's interesting how often we kind of project that vacation safety feeling onto these adventurous side trips. We think, it's on the bucket list, it's a known trail, it must be fine.
Yeah, you assume it's all part of the safe tourist experience. So they drive their rental car, it's a bit of a drive, out to the parking lot. They start walking down the path, and it's just like, describe this incredible wall of bamboo towering on both sides, super dense, like nothing they'd ever experienced before. Then this seemingly small moment happens. His wife stops, points. There's this little animal just off the trail, a mongoose.
Oh.
Yeah, just sitting there looking at them. They both thought it was kind of cute, and his wife, playfully starts trying to get closer, bending down, moving slowly so she doesn't scare it.
Oh, yeah.
And, naturally the mongoose just darts off into the bamboo.
A totally normal, even charming little encounter.
Yeah.
Right? But that's the thing. That moment of just pure curiosity, chasing after something cute, that's often how you end up straying from the marked path, isn't it? It's the first little step into the unknown.
It really was. They kind of followed it just for a bit, deeper into the jungle, off the main trail. And as they went, they started hearing water, like a waterfall nearby. So they followed that sound, and wow, they found this really beautiful hidden little pond, small waterfall feeding into it, looked completely private.
Mm-hmm.
The water felt surprisingly warm, deep enough to properly swim. And they thought, hey, we're totally alone out here, this amazing secret spot. Let's go skinny dipping.
Okay, so they've found their own little piece of paradise within paradise. That's the peak of feeling isolated, intimate, and, safe in their minds. The vulnerability isn't just being naked, it's that emotional state too. Completely relaxed, thinking nobody else is around for miles. That's often when we're least alert.
Well, it turns out they were very, very wrong about being alone. While they're in the water, his wife suddenly screams, "Points!" And there, half hidden behind a tree, just staring at them, is this older guy. Straw hat, long gray beard.
Oh, wow. Okay. That shatters the illusion immediately.
Yeah, and the narrator, he says he was just, quote, too nice of a person. So instead of yelling or confronting him, he just kind of nervously waves.
Right.
The man doesn't wave back, doesn't smile, doesn't react at all, just keeps standing there, silent, staring.
That's incredibly unsettling. The lack of any normal social response, it just ramps up the creepy factor instantly. He's not just someone who stumbled upon them. His stillness makes him feel like a presence, potentially a threatening one.
Totally. The wife, understandably, is like, I'm not getting out of this water naked with that guy watching.
No kidding.
So the narrator calls out, hey, can I help you with something? Trying to break the tension. Only then does the man speak. And apparently he had this surprisingly deep voice. He just says, looking for my dog.
His dog, after just silently watching them.
Yeah. They tell him, no, I haven't seen a dog. And the guy just turns and walks away into the jungle.
Yeah.
So they scramble out, get dressed super fast, and immediately try to find the main trail again. But They can't. They'd wandered too far off, chasing the mongoose, following the waterfall sound. They were completely lost.
And no cell service, you mentioned.
Oh, cell service.
Nothing. That dog excuse feels so thin, doesn't it? It's almost like a tactic. Give a mundane reason to make the victims doubt their own unease. Oh, maybe he was just looking for his dog. It creates confusion, buys time, and that uncertainty can be paralyzing, especially when you suddenly realize you're lost and cut off. Is this weird, or is it dangerous?
Exactly. And as the afternoon wears on, the sun starts going down. Panic really starts to kick in. His wife is in tears by the time it's getting properly dark. And as night falls, pitch black in the jungle, they both get this horrible feeling like they're being followed. They keep hearing sounds, footsteps, breaking twigs, intermittently behind them. It's terrifying. They're using their phone flashlights, but the batteries are dying. Then they hear footsteps really close again. He whispers to his wife, "Turn off the light, turn it off." They don't want to give away their position.
So it plunged into total darkness, just listening.
Yeah, just standing there in the pitch black, hearts pounding, listening. He said it felt like they were being stalked for hours.
That shift from a beautiful jungle hike to being lost and hunted in the dark, that's pure terror. Turning off the lights, trying to be invisible, it shows how desperate they were. That moment, adventure becomes a trap.
And then his eyes start to adjust a little to the darkness, and he sees it, a shape, a figure, maybe 10 feet away, slowly, like creeping towards them.
Oh my God.
He instinctively backs up, pushes his wife behind him. His voice is trembling, but he manages to ask, "What do you want?" His wife, she apparently hadn't seen the figure yet. Maybe she was looking down or just hadn't adjusted. But hearing him, she flips her phone flashlight back on, aims it right at the figure, and the light hits him. It's the same old man, straw hat, beard, but this time he's holding something, and it's unmistakable. It's a hacksaw.
A hacksaw. No. That changes everything. From creepy to immediate mortal danger.
They both just screamed. She let out this terrified shriek. He yelled, "Go, go, go!" at her. And they just ran blindly into the pitch black jungle, no path, just crushing through bamboo and plants, relying on their sneakers and hiking clothes. Ran and ran, felt like forever.
Just pure adrenaline and panic.
Sure.
Running for their lives in terrain they don't know.
Miraculously, after maybe 10, 15 minutes of this frantic running, his phone suddenly gets a bar, just one bar of service.
Oh.
He pulls up the map app, and somehow it loads enough for them to figure out which way to go to get back towards the parking lot. They follow it, stumbling, still terrified, until they finally see the parking lot, their rental car. Safety.
That moment of getting service, finding the way back, talk about a thin line between total disaster and escape. It shows how fast paradise can become hell.
The very next day, they went straight to the Maui Police Department, reported the whole thing, wanted to warn other tourists about that trail, about that man. They tried to salvage the rest of their honeymoon, obviously, but he said, definitely put a damper on things. Understandably.
I can only imagine that kind of fear lingers.
So that Maui story, it shows how the physical environment itself can turn hostile. But sometimes the fear comes from something else, like not understanding what's happening around you. Language barriers, maybe?
That's a really important point. Misunderstandings, especially when you're in a foreign place, already feeling a bit vulnerable, they can amplify fear incredibly quickly. Our next story, this one's from Sicily, delves into exactly that kind of unsettling situation, where words themselves, or the lack of understanding them, become terrifying.
Right. So this couple, the narrator and his wife Patricia, they're honeymooning in Sicily. They'd been to Palermo, Cefalù, and now they were in Messina. They were really enjoying Messina, the old buildings, the museums. It's a port city, so there's this mix of tourists who speak English and locals speaking Italian. The couple, they only knew basic elementary Italian.
Okay, so they're immersed in the culture, which is often what you want from a European trip. But that language gap, even a small one, it can create this underlying vulnerability, can it? Especially if things go sideways. You don't fully grasp the nuances of your surroundings.
Exactly. So one night, they're out enjoying Messina's nightlife. It's lively, music playing, people drinking, dancing on the streets. They joined in, had a few drinks themselves, maybe got a bit tipsy.
Sounds like a fun night.
Yeah, lost track of time. Before they knew it, it was way past midnight. The crowd spinned out, streets got quieter. On their way back to the hotel, they took a wrong turn. Ended up heading down the side street that turned into what he called a sketchy alleyway. Patricia immediately felt uneasy, he said. She got visibly upset.
A classic scenario. The bright, busy street gives way to a dark, quiet alley. Your sense of security just plummets, especially if you're a bit disoriented from drinks. Your usual defenses are kind of lowered.
And that's when it got weird. Suddenly, this man approaches them, gets right up in their faces, like obnoxiously close, he said, and he starts talking really fast Italian, like a machine gun. They couldn't understand anything he was saying. He seemed really agitated, frantic.
Okay, that's immediately alarming. Aggressive proximity, language barrier, agitated tone.
Yeah, total confusion. But the man kept repeating one word, over and over. It stood out from the rapid-fire Italian. The word was phantasma.
Phantasma.
Yeah. The narrator didn't know what it meant, just that it felt important. He basically pushed the guy away gently, grabbed Patricia's hand, and steered her quickly out of the alley. The man yelled some more Italian after them, but they just kept walking fast.
That single repeated word becomes this focal point, doesn't it? Piece of a puzzle they can't understand, hinting at something. More. The not knowing makes it feel even more threatening. What are we missing?
Totally. So as soon as they were a little ways away, out of the alley, the narrator pulls out his phone, Googles phantasma. It was the only word he clearly caught. And, well, you probably guessed it. It means ghost.
Ghost. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He said they just looked at each other when they saw the translation. He tried to laugh nervously, tried to get Patricia to laugh too, like, that's ridiculous.
Right. Trying to diffuse the fear.
But they were still in this dark, kind of run-down part of the city, nobody else around. And here's the kicker. Sicily doesn't really have Uber or easily available taxis late at night like that. They had to walk back to their hotel. He admits he was probably just as spooked as Patricia was by then, knowing some parts of these old cities aren't exactly safe late at night, ghost or no ghost.
That translation just flips a switch, doesn't it? From weird encounter with an aggressive local to something potentially supernatural, or at least deeply disturbing. And being stuck walking, no easy escape, just amplifies that fear. It adds this psychological layer onto the physical vulnerability.
And then it gets even stranger. Suddenly they both hear it. Behind them, a woman crying. Quietly but distinctly.
Oh, man.
They turn around, and about 10 yards back, there's this woman. She looked young, but he said she was freakishly tall, like unnaturally tall, taller than him even. And she's walking slowly towards them, face buried in her hands, crying.
Freakishly tall. Face hidden, crying.
No.
That's like something out of a horror movie archetype. It's not just a person anymore. It feels like an omen, especially right after the phantasma warning. It plays on those deep-seated fears of the uncanny.
Patricia, who he describes as normally very sweet, very nurturing, apparently just whispered to him, "We need to get the hell away from her now."
She was properly spooked.
I don't blame her.
So they start jogging, turn down another narrow street, then duck into another alleyway trying to lose her. But every time they glanced back, she was still there, at the end of the alley or the street they just left, walking at the exact same slow, steady pace, still crying, face still hidden. Never speeding up, never getting closer, but always there. That's the truly unnerving part. The relentless, unchanging pursuit. It feels inescapable, like being stalked by something inevitable. It creates this awful feeling of being trapped, even while you're moving.
He said it felt like they were navigating this maze, this channel of alleyways and narrow one-way streets, and the crying sound just followed them. The pursuit, the sound, the presence of the woman. It only stopped when they finally burst back out onto one of the main roads, a bigger street with cars, a few other people still out. Only then did it feel like they were safe.
That return to normalcy, to traffic and other people, must have been such an intense release. This story really shows how psychological fear, fueled by mystery and misunderstanding, could be just as terrifying, maybe even more so than a clear physical threat.
Absolutely. Patricia, to this day, is convinced they encountered an actual ghost. He says, maybe, could it have been some elaborate prank? Like for an Italian YouTube channel or something? He considers it, but he admits every time he thinks about it, the possibility still gives him chills.
Yeah, some experiences just stick with you like that.
So, the first two stories showed danger coming from the environment or mysterious figures. But sometimes the threat is much closer. It comes from the very place you're supposed to feel safest. Your accommodation.
That's a particularly violating type of fear, isn't it? We put so much trust in the places we rent, especially for something like a honeymoon where privacy is key. When that trust is broken and the danger is inside your safe space, it feels incredibly personal. Our last story is a chilling example of exactly that.
Okay, for our final account, we're going to the Bahamas. This couple, they found what seemed like a perfect, affordable getaway, but it turned into something really disturbing. They weren't wealthy, both worked regular 9-to-5 jobs, and after the wedding costs, money was tight. So a lavish honeymoon wasn't really an option. His wife managed to find this great deal on Airbnb. A 3-night stay in a private house in the Bahamas seemed ideal. Spacious living room, kitchen, big bedroom, bathroom, and this great back deck that led right onto a private beach.
That sounds perfect for a budget-friendly private escape. The expectation is complete seclusion, your own little slice of paradise. That makes what happens next even more unsettling because it violates that core expectation of privacy.
Exactly. So the first day, they hit the private beach, have a great time, walk to a nearby restaurant for dinner. Everything's lovely. But when they get back to the house, that's when the first little weird thing happened. As soon as they walked in, they both noticed things seemed moved. Out of place. Their sandals weren't where they left them. Their beach bags seemed shifted.
Subtle discrepancy.
Yeah, nothing was actually missing, so they kind of just accused each other like, did you move my stuff? Brushed it off.
That's the start, isn't it? Those tiny, nagging inconsistencies that plant a seed of doubt. You rationalize at first, blame each other, but the unease begins. It's those little invasions.
Later that evening, they're relaxing in the hot tub out on the back deck, and they both hear it clearly. A noise from inside the house, like a distinct bang or a door closing.
Okay, less subtle now.
Right. So the narrator gets out, dripping wet, goes inside to check things out, but all the doors are closed. No sign of anyone. He said he was starting to feel a little suspicious or cautious by then. The next day, they go out again, do some touristy stuff, enjoy the beach more. When they come back, the bathroom door and the bedroom door are open, and they were sure they hadn't left them that way.
The unease is definitely escalating. From misplaced items to noises to now physical evidence of doors being manipulated. Their sense of control within their private space is eroding fast.
Totally. They felt really uncomfortable now. That night, they double-checked every window, every door, made sure everything was locked tight. They actually skipped the hot tub, decided just to stay inside and watch movies instead.
See, their behavior is already changing. The fear is making them alter their plans, retreat inwards. They're sacrificing part of their vacation experience because of this creeping dread.
And then, things got even weirder. They start hearing noises from above them, like little taps and whatnot, right over their heads. But here's the thing. The Airbnb listing and the house itself, it definitely had no upstairs. It was a single-story house.
No upstairs. But noises from above, that's instantly creepy. It messes with your understanding of the physical space itself. Where could the noise possibly be coming from?
Exactly. They tried to rationalize it. Maybe it's the roof settling. Maybe an iguana got up there. Or some kind of, bohemian creepy crawly stuck in the vents or the attic space.
Trying to find a logical explanation for something deeply illogical.
Yeah. Later that night, his wife is taking a shower. Suddenly she screams. He runs into the bathroom. She's turned the water off, standing there terrified, saying there was something in the vent above the shower.
Oh, great.
He looked up into the dark vent, couldn't really see anything, but he did hear it himself then. Tiny noises, like little scuffling sounds. It seemed to confirm, okay, maybe it is just a small animal trapped in there. They still had one more day left, figured it wasn't really their problem to solve.
Even rationalizing it as an animal, the scream, the confirmation of noises right above you in the shower.
Yeah.
That focuses the dread. It's no longer just random house sounds, it's something specific right there. But they're still trying to push it down, finish the trip. Cognitive dissonance is powerful.
But the absolute most chilling thing happened the next morning. He wakes up because his wife is shaking him awake. And the look on her face, he said it was pure horror, sent shivers right down his spine. She just whispers, "Listen." He holds his breath, listens intently in the quiet room. And he hears it too, a frantic whispering sound coming from the ceiling, specifically from one of the ceiling vents right above their bed.
Whispering from the vent. Okay, that's not an animal, that's human.
That was the breaking point. He immediately grabs his phone, starts dialing the Airbnb owner. As the phone is ringing in his hand, he hears something else simultaneously. A faint, vibrating sound from above us.
The owner's phone. Vibrating above them.
That's exactly what he thought. His mind raced. Wait a minute. Is there actually an upstairs? A hidden space? Is the owner living up there? The vibrating stopped after a second, but his call to the owner just kept ringing, went to voicemail, and then, driven by this awful, terrifying curiosity, he takes his phone, turns on the flashlight, and points it straight up through the slats of the ceiling vent above the bed. For just a split second before whoever it was could jerk back, he saw them. Someone was looking down through the vent right into their bedroom. He clearly saw their eyes.
Eyes in the vent. That is the absolute nightmare scenario, the ultimate violation of privacy. Knowing someone has been secretly watching you in your most private space, their safe haven was a viewing gallery. This just hammers home that we need to be vigilant, even in places that feel secure. Check everything. Trust your gut.
The reaction was instant. He said they threw all their essential stuff, wallets, passports, phones, into their bags in all of about 30 seconds. Didn't even bother with clothes or anything else. They just bolted out the front door, ran down the sandy dirt road away from the house until they hit a main street where they could get help.
Pure flight response. Get out. Now.
They ended up spending their last 2 nights in a cheap motel. They reported the whole terrifying incident to Airbnb immediately. To Airbnb's credit, they got a full refund, and the owner's account was banned from the platform. They didn't press charges, nothing was stolen, and maybe they just wanted to put it behind them. But he said they were left deeply disturbed, wondering what other kind of shady shit that owner might have been up to.
Unbelievable. What a horrifying end to a honeymoon.
So looking back at all these stories, what's the thread connecting them? It seems to be about how quickly that dream, that paradise can just shatter, that thin line between the perfect getaway and, well, real terror.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about the bigger picture, these experiences really highlight how vulnerable we can be when we step outside our normal routines, especially into unfamiliar environments, maybe places where we don't speak the language fluently or don't know the local customs or potential dangers. These kinds of unsettling encounters, they can fundamentally change how you perceive safety, how much you trust a place, or even other people when you travel. It really makes you question, doesn't it? How much do we really know about the places we visit or the people we meet, especially when we let our guard down, when we're trying to be relaxed and open?
Which leads to a really interesting question for you listening right now. When you travel, or even when you're just exploring somewhere new closer to home, what kind of unexpected risks might be hiding just beneath the surface? That perfect beach, that charming old town, that private rental, what could go wrong? And maybe more importantly, what would you do if your dream trip suddenly turned into your worst nightmare? Definitely something to think about. Thank you for joining us for this collection of truly chilling honeymoon stories. If you found these accounts fascinating or just want more deep dives into the strange and unexpected, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Horror Docs. We appreciate your support. We'll see you next time.